If you own a universal life policy, there is a possibility that the policy is not doing what you had intended. Even worse, the policy may be imploding on you. In a previous video, we discussed how and why such a policy may be failing. Don't worry, universal life policies are actually a very strategic tool, and even those that are performing poorly can be fixed. There are several ways in which a life insurance policy may be failing you, but for now let's focus on universal life policies that are imploding. By imploding, I'm referring to policies that are seeing an increase in premiums or cost in order to keep the policy in force. In other words, if you maintain the current premium level, your policy will lapse in X number of years. Usually, X number of years is way too soon. There are several main options you can take to correct an imploding universal life policy. 1, you can adjust the premiums higher. 2, you can add a lump sum of money. 3, you can adjust the death benefit. Or 4, you can replace the policy. Adjusting premiums. The first step to handling this situation is to determine what will take to get the policy back on track. Call up the company and ask for this specific information. They should be able to tell you the premiums required to keep the policy in force for your desired time period. For instance, let's assume Peter, a 65-year-old, wanted to keep his universal life policy through at least his 105th birthday. Let's also assume that his current premium is $145 a month. If he continues at $145, that policy will lapse in 6 years at the age of 71. What that means is that at age 71, Peter will be faced with a large premium increase or the policy will lapse or go away. Peter does not want this scenario to happen, so he calls the insurance company and they tell him if he pays $273 per month going forward, the policy will remain in force through age 105. In this example, the premiums or costs needed to keep the policy in force through the desired time are almost double the current amount. Although this is a financial burden, it may be the most efficient way for him to maintain the insurance coverage he wants. Adding a lump sum of money. Like increasing your premiums, you can get your universal life policy back on track with a cash infusion. This can be accomplished by perhaps paying off a loan or just adding a lump sum of cash to the policy. The increased cash value can then be used to offset future premiums, allowing you to maintain the policy in force for your desired timeline. Keep in mind that overfunding or adding extra money to a life insurance policy can lead to tax implications that must be considered. Adjusting the death benefit. The cost of life insurance is partially related to the amount of coverage or death benefit. So if you find your policy is imploding and you do not want to increase your premiums to keep it in force, you can consider lowering the face amount or death benefit of the policy. By working with the insurance company, you can potentially find a death benefit amount that results in a more appropriate premium level. However, keep in mind that while it's maybe easy to lower the death benefit, should you want to raise it in the future, it won't be as easy. To raise the death benefit prior to levels, you most likely will be required to take a new round of underwriting to prove you're in good health. Replacing the policy. If you have determined that the cost of keeping the policy in force is way too high, but you still want to maintain the amount of coverage, you can consider replacing the policy with a new one. Before you consider replacing a life insurance policy, keep in mind that it isn't as simple as calling a different company and asking to switch. Life insurance replacements can be tricky and should be handled with care by an independent professional. The primary rule of replacing life insurance policy is do not stop payments or cancel the current policy. While you might be shown a quote for a new policy that is more favorable, until that new policy is issued, you don't have anything. More often than not, people who attempt to replace their current policies wind up sticking with what they had. If the new policy doesn't work out, you don't want to find yourself without any coverage. What you are fundamentally doing is obtaining new life insurance policies. With that comes a new set of underwriting requirements, including medical tests and medical record reviews. Just because you qualified as a preferred rating when you obtained the policy 10 years ago, it doesn't mean that you're going to qualify for a preferred rating today. If your health situation has deteriorated since your first policy was issued, it may be difficult to find a reasonably priced replacement. Another important consideration is the cash value of your existing policy. Usually, if your policy is imploding, the cash value is minimal to none anyway. But if there is cash value when you're replacing a policy, you must determine what to do with it. If you replace the policy, you can take the cash and put it in your pocket, but there may be tax implications of such a move. An alternative is known as the 1035 exchange. 1035 is just a simple reference to the IRS code for handling cash values in life insurance exchanges. You could take cash value from one life insurance policy and transfer it to another life insurance policy without the tax penalties you might experience if you just pocketed the cash. When it comes to replacements, many people are surprised to find that they can actually improve their life insurance situation. Between the overall decrease in life insurance prices over the years and the relatively high cost of a poorly managed policy in the past, it is often wise to review your options. Regardless of how you handle an imploding universal life policy, it is important to stay on top of it. Complacency has been the downfall of many good intentions with life insurance. If you review your policy regularly, you will be in a better control and more likely satisfied with the results. If it has been a few years or even decades since you reviewed your policy with a professional, now's a good time to be proactive. Contact Alphen Financial Group to set up a life insurance policy review. We will help you understand what you have and also make sure it is doing what you need it to do. You'll work with someone who is a licensed independent insurance agent to make sure you're on the right path.